This is Lacy Robertson, the hardest working woman in mortgage and real estate nationwide, and I'm here to bring you this week's report of California companies that will be laying off a significant amount of workforce where we received and processed their notice between November 20th and November 24th, 2025. Now, if you're new to me, before I ask you to like, comment, share, react to the video, you're probably wondering, why do I share this information? You said you're in mortgage. You said you're in real estate. That's what you do. What does layoff information have to do with mortgage and real estate? Well, I'm glad you asked because you know what? Your girl has an answer. So it was many, many years ago, I was getting ready to purchase a piece of property. I was so excited. The seller was excited. They were going to get the proceeds from the sale of their property. I signed my loan documents. I go back to work and I find out hours later I was getting ready to be laid off that day. No warning, no 2-week notice, no 30-day notice, not a day notice. Okay, I was getting laid off that day along with 399 other people. 400 of us got laid off that day. And you can only imagine what was going on in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm buying a house. I cannot buy this house still. I don't have a job. How am I going to pay the mortgage? All of this stuff, right? Even though I got a severance and everything, but you don't know when you're going to get your next job. So I was in panic mode. So I immediately got on the phone. I called my mortgage broker at the time. I called my real estate broker at the time. I said, look, I don't have a job. I can't buy this house. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I faxed over all the information and thankfully I was able to unravel that transaction. What does that mean? My loan did not fund because normally funders, I've been one, just before they fund the loan, they'll call and verify employment. They'll just ask to speak to you as somebody says, okay, hold on, I'll get her. That's good enough for them, right? Because they've already underwritten the file. They just want to make sure that you are employed when they push that button. So anyways, I was able to unravel the transaction, but guess what? I lost money in the process. I didn't get my down payment back. I didn't get the money I spent for an appraisal, a home inspection, a pest inspection. I didn't get any of that money back. Now, it wasn't my fault that I got laid off, and it wasn't the seller's fault that I could no longer buy the property. I mean, I have removed all my contingencies, so don't cry for me, but cry for me, right? But I was able to unravel the transaction in that way. So there's two reasons why I share this information. One, what would you do differently if there was a possibility that you might get laid off? That is one of the main reasons why I share this information. Like, would you not buy that new house or new car? Would you not go on that shopping spree? Like, what would you do different? Would you dust off your resume, update it, put some fillers out there, apply for other companies to see what you'll get? If somebody will entertain you and give you an interview or, at least get back to you. So what would you do differently? Would you start saving more aggressively, right? Not using a lot of your discretionary income? Would you start paying off debt aggressively? Would you refinance, restructure your budget? What would you do differently if there was a possibility that you might get laid off? So that's the reason why I share this information. The second reason is I want you to know you don't have to lose your house just because you lost your job or you're facing a financial hardship. I've been helping clients for years to lower their mortgage payment, make it more affordable so they don't have to exhaust all their savings trying to make their mortgage payment each month. There's temporary options. There's like repayment plans. There's forbearance plans, but then there's more permanent options like a loan modification, like a refinance. There are options available, but guess what? They're not automatic. You got to pick up the phone and dial 714-914-7254. Again, you got to pick up the phone and dial 714-914-7254. Now, before I get into this list of California companies that will be laying off a significant amount of workforce where we received and processed their notice between November 20th, 2025 and November 24th, 2025. Let me share with you what I was able to help a client with. This is a modification I was able to do. Just 1 second here. Things look a little bit different, but here we go. Let me share my screen. Hopefully you can see it in just a few minutes. This client this servicing company is not around, I don't believe anymore, but IndyMac or One West Bank, they that's who they had. And if you look over here to the right here, I'm going to highlight their mortgage payment before they came to me was $2,208.77. This was interest only. This was horrible. Okay. It was interest only payment. And they were paying over $2,200. I got them a payment that was $1,921.35. But guess what? It included principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You see that? The difference? I'll just highlight the modified payment. Modified payment is $1,921.35, and that included principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Unlike their previous mortgage payment I highlighted right there is $2,208.77, and that was just interest only. They weren't touching their principal. It was not going down. So in essence, I was able to save them over $500 per month. See, I have that highlighted there. And then I also was able to get the bank to forgive them of $164,673.88. I have here on my social media pages this modification for this client. It was amazing. This is the full agreement, okay? The full agreement, what their payment was before, and then what I was able to get their payment to. So it was amazing. This client was super happy and they were elated that someone referred them to me. So let me go ahead and get into this list really quick. As you know, if you're not new to me, but if you're new to me, I give this list in alphabetical order by company. So if I happen to get to past the letter that your company starts with, and you've been kind of hearing whispers out there that your company might be laying off, they might be in trouble, you may want to look at previous videos. I may have covered them already, right? We may have received and gotten their information sooner than November 20th. So anyways, I give you the name of the company, the date they're laying off, whether the layoff is temporary, whether it's permanent, whether it's a closure. I let you know how many people and the location. Okay. So I like to tell you guys so you guys could get used to like, how long is this video going to be this week, Lacy? We have 11 entries. That does not mean 11 different companies. That just means 11 entries because some companies are laying off multiple days or multiple locations. Okay. So let's get into it. January 24th, we have building materials manufacturing. They're closing permanently. They're laying off 69 people at 6505 Zerker Road in Shafter. January 19th, 2026, CRST Expedited Inc. is closing permanently, laying off 12 people at 19615 South Susanna Road in Compton. You have January 20th, Gallagher LLC is closing permanently, laying off 86 people at 9303 Greenleaf Avenue in Santa Fe Springs. You have January 30th, Henkel Corporation is closing permanently, laying off 13 people at 5110 Port Chicago Highway, Suite A in Concord. You have April 30th, Henkel Corporation is closing permanently, laying off 7 people at 405 Industrial Way in Dixon. January 19th, Illumina is laying off permanently 7 people at 5200 Illumina Way in San Diego. January 1st, the French Gourmet Inc. is closing permanently, laying off 102 people at 960 Turquoise Street in San Diego. December 29th, University of Southern California, USC, is laying off permanently 30 people at 3551 Truesdale Parkway, Suite 160 in Los Angeles. On January 23rd, Van Law Products, Inc. is laying off permanently 50 people at 2325 Moore Avenue in Fullerton. January 23rd, Verizon is laying off permanently 54 people at 2770 Shadelands Drive, Building 11 in Walnut Creek. And last, but certainly not least, January 23rd, Verizon is laying off permanently 139 people at 15505 Sand Canyon Avenue, Building C in Irvine. Now, that's the end of this week's list of California companies that will be laying off. A significant amount of workforce will be received and processed their notice between November 20th and November 24th. Now, remember, if you've experienced a loss of income due to a death, divorce, illness, injury, layoff, or natural disaster, I have good news for you. You don't have to lose your house just because you lost your job or you're facing a financial hardship. I've been helping clients for years lower their mortgage payment, make it more affordable so they don't have to exhaust all their savings trying to make their mortgage payment each month. For all your mortgage and real estate needs, I want you to visit me at modifymenow.com, or better yet, pick up the phone and dial right now 714-914-7254. I'm Lacy Robertson, the hardest working woman in mortgage and real estate nationwide. I look forward to working with you and for you. And until then, have a blessed day.